Hi, good evening. Welcome to the MSIB weekly training again. Today, our topic is called nutrition across the life cycle. You know, every day, our body performs more than thousands of functions internally to keep us going. We cannot live in a house that only have one piece of furniture. Of course, our body is also the same. We cannot live with just like vitamin C or protein alone. That's for sure. Young or old, we are all at the risk of nutrition deficiency. How can we make sure that our health to be at a peak in every stage of our life? Do you have enough vitamin and mineral that your body needs every day? Sounds like you are not too sure, right? Me too. Let's learn together. Over to you, Claudia.
Okay, thank you, CK, for the introduction, and good evening, everyone. All right. Well, I hope you have been doing well, and you are, looking good. So today we'll be touching on the topic on life cycle. All right, as we progress over the years, how our body would change and how best to be at where we need to be all the time. Okay, so just give me a moment as I share my screen. Okay, so just now we have a glimpse of a time-lapse video that shows how a person's face would change, all right, would morph into a different type of face according to their age. So, well, when we look at this video, the first thing that comes to mind is, wow, okay, how a person would change so drastically. But when we see towards the end, I'm sure you have feelings like, oh, this person is already aging. This person is old already. So towards the end, she will be needing more extra care, okay, compared to beginning, okay. The first part of the video, you get very excited because the person is still very young. And as we have this concept in mind, is it true that nutrition deficiency and nutritional needs is only more important for people who are at older age? Well, is that true? So let's just talk about what we do every day, okay, what we see every day. Your children, for example, even a kid, if they do not have enough food for the day, okay, if it's not being fed enough before going to school or doing activities, I'm pretty sure he will not have the ability to stay focused. And, very soon he will get distracted and wanted to take food, right? And the same for a person who is young, all right, in my age group, in a younger age group, we may not have the expression of a child if we are hungry, but we also will experience the same effect if we do not have enough nutrition for the day. Okay, we will be tired and we get distracted, and most likely we won't have much motivation to do work. And the same is also demonstrated in a person that's older. Okay, whenever the person is not eating enough, at this stage you will feel it a lot more drastically as well. Okay, you will feel the differences in your body. You have more gastrointestinal issues, so on and so forth. So regardless of any stage in life, nutrition is just as important. Okay, I'm pretty sure even if you're a young adult, you do not want to be at the lower spectrum of your age group. Okay, you want to be optimal at every stage of your life. And in order for us to achieve that, we need to have sufficient nutrients. So malnutrition is a very broad term. is an umbrella word. And I'm pretty sure many of you, when you all see this word, you can't relate to it, right? Because this is like, or this word triggers an image of an African child who is malnourished or in poverty, and you think you don't really fit into that picture, right? But under malnutrition, there are two broad areas. One is undernutrition. So the African image that you have in mind is not invalid. It's true. How it's part in this, but under undernutrition, there are also other areas to look at. And of course, we have overnutrition as well, which is what many people are facing. And as we enter the modern era, overnutrition is getting more and more serious compared to undernutrition. So, under undernutrition, there is a section called insufficient vitamin and minerals. And just to let you know, okay, this applies to all of us. Okay, as the image I've shown just now of a child, So this happened across every age group, and maybe you are experiencing this right now, but you don't realize it. Okay, and we will later go into details about how this will affect our body and our day-to-day. And next, if you don't have enough nutrition, okay, this is where the poverty things come in the picture. All right, the person will have wasting and stunting issues will not be able to be developed. But these wasting and stunting issues can also happen in a modern era like today. So, for example, if children don't have enough, or especially moving towards adolescence and the later years of your life, if you do not have enough protein, that's when your muscle will start to waste away. Okay, a person will start to feel the effects of muscle wasting, and they will also become shorter in stature, especially during later years of a person's lifetime. So this can also happen, all right, under nutrition. So overnutrition is where there's too much in excess, and a lot of diet-related diseases. Okay, most of the time they are non-communicable. So such as diabetes, overweight, or heart diseases-related issues. So even though this overnutrition part may seem like it's preventable, but I'm sure we're not surprised that these data are not getting better. So today our focus will be more on insufficient vitamin and minerals. Okay, so this is the main part that you'll be focusing. Wasting and stunting has a lot to do with protein. Okay, that can happen. Doesn't matter you are poor or rich. Okay, it can happen across any age group and any society. And protein is also very much needed in metabolic health. So metabolic health covers overnutrition, this part of the picture. So every day, our body produces cells, okay, numerous functions to support all these things every day, such as we need new skin cells, muscle, bone, red blood cell, okay, so on and so forth. And just so you know, all this process, they don't only require a single nutrient in order to complete its function. Okay, micronutrient deficiency will affect, it's like a chain reaction towards not just only one, but numerous processes in the body. For example, okay, red blood cell production, it does not only require iron, even though iron is the main nutrient required. So at the same time as our red blood cell is producing more from the bone marrow, it also requires vitamin B9. Okay, it requires vitamin B9, and it also needs some other vitamin B, B1, B2 in order to support its energy function. So hardly any function only needs one. Most of the time it needs several few vitamins in order for it to perform its function. And when one function is deterred, if we have less vitamin B, it will affect our skin, it will affect our muscle, affect our bones, because once there's less, it's like it's like an effect, okay, a chain reaction that will happen across every single function that's happening in our body. So even a single micronutrient deficiency can trigger a lot of reactions in the body that we may not be able to see in our naked eye, but internally is what that's happening. So just like what CK said, you can't stay in a house that has only one piece of furniture. Likewise, our body, okay, it has many different nutrients together, like an orchestra, okay, many different instruments playing together to give us that music that we enjoy. So micronutrient deficiencies, once we have that, you find yourself falling sick very easily. Okay, you find yourself often you have flu, you have sore throat, and the thing is they're very persistent. Okay, they can't go off. Some people have very persistent cough. Even after taking antibiotics and all that kind of thing, it comes back and it reoccur. So all these things can deter a person's optimal function. They don't really have much motivation. Whenever you fall sick, you don't really have the motivation to do much. And this can also lead a person to become very tired and lack of concentration, especially on the road. So this is very dangerous, okay? Because a lot of motor vehicle accident happens when a person is not focused, all right? And a lot of time it has to do with lack of sleep and the person just ram into something. Okay, and it can also affect the brain, right? The brain has a lot of nerve impulses that requires a lot of nutrients. So once you don't have that, okay, naturally you worry. The biological aspect of us will trigger worry, low confidence, irritation, and also your body is more prone to have aches and pains, and you will also be more likely to fall and things like that as well. So all these things will happen whenever we do not have enough vitamins. So there are three common deficiency and condition that happens across all lifespan. Doesn't matter you're young or old. So the first one that I want to pay attention to is calcium. Okay, second is fruits and vegetables. Third is eye health. So we go into calcium first. So here's a chart that demonstrates a person's bone growth, okay, peak bone mass across two different genders. So male and female. So generally you see, okay, during our younger years, the bone is developing. Okay, it's strong, and men has higher bone density compared to women. And then after this, okay, it will plateau for a while, then it will start to decrease as years go by. If you notice for women, there is a particular curve here that is a lot more steeper compared to men counterpart. This is because during this time, estrogen levels will be lower. So the bone, okay, calcium will be leached a lot more quickly compared to men. And female in general will lose more bone mass compared to men. So in terms of calcium requirement, female have to pay more attention. So our calcium, a lot of it is found in the bone. So our general requirement is pretty high. It's 1,000 milligrams a day. So this is what is recommended. Okay, however, according to studies, right, okay, 50 years and above, you need more, 1,000 too. But according to studies, Southeast Asia region has the least amount of calcium intake. Okay, on average, it's only 357 milligrams a day. And this is only 40%. All right, so because we do not eat calcium, all right, it's not in our normal diet as compared to like US or Europe counterparts. They don't have so much problem in calcium. They can easily hit 800 because they eat cheese and milk and things like that. So you see here, all right, the thing I want to tell you is this. We don't think calcium is important, right? Because it's not so important, all right? Many people will always neglect. But one thing they don't realize is that with the increase of, if you continue to not eat enough calcium, okay, we're talking about eating only 300 calcium for your whole lifetime, that is what is stated in the studies. So slowly, if your body is continuously on a deficiency, then your peak bone mass will drop very significantly. So what we see here is an ideal situation. But many times, okay, you just sum it up, okay, do it cumulatively. If you're always on a deficient, then our bone mass will drop drastically. And just so you know, 99% of the calcium is stored in the bone. So if you don't eat enough for just one day, all right, your body will be drawing out calcium from the bone. And you can just imagine the impact of it when it happens continuously. Yeah, 99% of the calcium is in the bones. So when a person do not eat enough calcium, all right, over time, you don't feel it for the first 5 years. For the next 5 years, you will definitely feel it. Because based on this picture, you can see there's a very big difference. Okay, a healthy bone is a lot more dense. You can see the holes are not so porous. Okay, it's smaller. And the osteoporosis bone, this is what happens if you only take 300 milligram a day. Okay, your bone's integrity will be a lot more fragile, and the holes are so big, and one small friction or a fall can easily cause a disintegration, or you can have a fracture. So when a person falls down, okay, this is especially apparent, okay, when you're over 50. Okay, and once you fall down, you can very easily from the knee trigger a certain pressure, and it leads up to hip fracture. So it's very common at that age to have things like hip fracture. And now, because of how weak our bones are, there are also studies showing that younger and younger people also have fractures issue due to falls. And I can tell you, once you have a fall, you cannot walk like how you used to before. Okay, it's not the same. Doesn't matter how much you do rehabilitation, okay, you do all this kind of thing, but you can talk to people who have fracture. They say you cannot walk the same anymore. Okay, it feels different once you have a fracture. And also, having not enough calcium can also trigger our back, the spine. All right, you can see once the bones is porous, it's very easily to crack. And once you sit down, that's it. Okay, a compression fracture will happen. And this is very painful. Even if you cough, also you feel very pain because there's a pressure pushing on towards our spine. So yeah, this is something that we should pay attention to. Okay, so bones obviously is the major part of calcium. But calcium also play many roles in other different functions of the body, okay, such as muscle contraction. And for people who often have cramps, sometimes post-workout also trigger cramps, okay, it's also due to electrolyte imbalances. So calcium is very important to make sure that your muscles don't always contract, okay, you can have a good rhythm. So calcium can help for cramping issues. And if a person have a severe menstrual pain, okay, it can also help to not trigger the uterus to contract so much, help to relax that. And also, okay, it also helps to support the heart muscle. So we have learned last week that CoQ10 is still the main nutrient when it comes to heart muscle, okay? Of course, it's the energy nutrient, but you still need some nutrients to support its function. So calcium also apparently plays a role. And the reason why a person have high blood pressure is because the blood vessel constrict, okay? There's smooth muscle in the blood pressure, in the vein. So whenever a person don't have enough calcium, it may, okay, suboptimally affect a certain degree of high blood pressure. So calcium can also improve this. Okay, not to mention, calcium plays a very important role in our nerve impulses. So if you do not have enough, you find it harder to relax, okay, and having insomnia and things like that. And of course, for people who long-term do not have sufficient calcium, may have a certain risk of having anxiety and depression. Okay, so what are calcium food sources? All right, so of course we know there is things like milk, okay, this is famous, and yogurt and tofu, all kinds of tofu. So these are the three main food sources that has the highest calcium, 300 milligram and above. And all these others like cheese, okay, we're talking about good cheese, cheddar, not the processed type, tempeh and broccoli. These are also good source, but not as high. They are 200 and below. So if you look at this food picture, there really isn't much choice that we can select from in terms of giving ourselves sufficient calcium intake. Because I can tell you, we don't even eat any of this food in a day, every day. So it's not a surprise that people are consistently and continuously having insufficient calcium intake. So frankly, without supplements, it is very difficult to hit 1,000 milligrams. So on top of supplements, I strongly encourage you to have at least one of the food sources, and then you supplement in order to hit that 1,000 milligram requirement. So apparently, there are food that will decrease calcium absorption. So things like coffee, right? We always think that coffee has milk, right? So subconsciously, that should be able to give us a certain amount of calcium. But there are actually nutrition inhibition that will happen with caffeine and calcium. So even if you are drinking it, it's like you're not drinking it at all because it will not be absorbed into the body. And the same, okay, like tea, I know Teh Tarik has some milk, we feel a bit better, and it's bubble tea, but well, once it's mixed with tea, so the effect is nullified. And at the same time, caffeine also increases, so more calcium will leach out from the bones if we were to take this too much. So we should refrain from taking too much caffeine. But at the same time, there is good news, all right? There are nutrients that can increase calcium absorption, such as Bio-C. Okay, so if you are taking vitamin C, it is encouraged that you take it together with calcium supplement as it increases calcium absorption. So prebiotics as well, okay, not pro, but prebiotic. This special fiber formulation, okay, that is for the growth of good bacteria, can alter the pH level, okay, and to help our body to increase calcium much better. So if you are taking this, it's great that you take together with calcium. Okay, so after covering one of the most deficient nutrient that we all face, next is fruits and vegetables. So recommendation suggests that we take 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. Okay, 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit. However, in reality, people are struggling to meet fruit intake. To be frank, I sometimes also have this problem. Okay, vegetables still okay, but fruits is difficult. Don't have the habit of taking every day. And vegetables is at least 3, and most people are taking less than 2. So, and this is going to become harder and harder as we slowly go to work physically and eat more food from outside. So this is really a huge problem. So 5 servings and fruits and vegetables has been shown to give a lot of benefits, protective benefits especially. So one of them is that it can prevent premature death. So studies have found that individuals who has consistent intakes of fruits and vegetables have a longer life and better quality of life. There are also less risk of having cancer, as all these fruits and vegetables have nutrients that can fight against cancer, can prevent cancer from going on, and can also prevent various other diseases. Okay, fruits and vegetables can protect that, and importantly is the colon. Okay, things like colon cancer, okay, colon problem, all these things can also happen if we do not have enough fruits and vegetables. So to have 5 servings every day, okay, great. This is something we think we can do now and immediately, and we don't have to take any supplements, right? But our world is changing. Okay, our world is changing. Climate change is a huge thing, and the soil, the quality of soil that we have has also been depleted from nutrients and minerals. So this has caused our crops to change. So our crops, even vegetables and fruits, are now more starch and sugar compared to way before. And the stuff that benefits us, such as protein, minerals, and vitamins, are declining, right? And these are the things that will benefit us by getting less. So even though if you're taking 5 servings every day, which is great, but you will not be able to get the full effect and the full benefits 5 years ago. So with the future, things is going to get worse, and we will not be getting the nutrients sufficiently, even though we are taking enough of it. So this is when we need to do something to fill in that gap. So this is where Daily Produce 24 comes into the picture. It helps to fill in the gaps, that all these fruits and vegetables that have been deprived of. So if you do take the 5 servings and you include this as well, then you'll be rest assured that your body will be well protected. So why Unicity Daily Produce 24? Because it has 12 fruits and vegetables, whole food extracts that retains natural deep color of all these produce. It retains nutritional integrity without excess processing. Okay, so this is very important because it preserves naturally occurring enzymes and micronutrients. And it's also packed in plant-based capsules without any animal products. And it's also halal certified. So this is safe for anyone All right, and this is what we need, especially now when the soil is depleting with minerals and nutrients. So this is something that we really need now. So plants and fruits and vegetables is one thing that we have covered just now. But there's another type of fruit class that we as Asians don't get enough of. Right? First of all, it's not native to our country and it's also expensive to have. So this particular group of fruits is having a lot of science attention lately because it has a lot of pigment, and this pigment works very differently from the normal fruits and vegetables that we have. Why? Okay, because it has a lot to do with eye health. Okay, so in our diet, we also don't take berries very often. So this is where we need to also take in because our eye health is declining. All right, now with the increased use of phones and tablets, okay, we are increasingly using it, so it's affecting our eyesight drastically. Now, younger and younger people are having to wear spectacles, have short-sightedness issue, and even though it's very straining for us and we get headache, but we have no choice but to use it still, right, for work-related purpose. And now people are having issues like this at the earlier age. Okay, we can't see even though we have glasses on, and at old age we will still be using technology in order to give us entertainment. So because of this reason, our vision impair with age. So as you can see, based on this graph, okay, it's an illustration of how our vision will decline with age. So at the early, actually it starts declining once you're 30 already. Okay, as you can see here, it starts to, become worse and worse. And then at 40, at 40 here, 39, okay, you can see a very steep increase. Okay, it's a very steep increase in the eye vision impairment, and it goes on very severely, 80% as you go on to older years. So for us to prevent this from happening so soon, we have to supplement, okay, take something at least to prevent this thing from accelerating so quickly. So in order for us to have this protection and to prevent it from becoming worse at later years, this is where Vision Essential comes into the picture. Right, previously I've done an extensive review on this, and they have one of these two main ingredients, which is lutein and zeaxanthin. So these two are very important as pigments for the eye. Okay, and this pigment plays a very important defensive role in deflecting blue rays, okay, from damaging the retina. And together, okay, because the eye is also an organ that has a lot of oxidative activity going on. So it needs to have very strong antioxidants. So the ones that is particularly effective for the eyes is vitamin A, E, and zinc. And also on top of these 5 nutrients, in Vision Essentials, there is also 7 types of berries. And these berries are, high quality and are great to be incorporated because they have efficacy towards improving eye vision. So eye vitamins have proven to reduce blue light damage to the retina, okay, not damaging the retina too much. It reduces risk to short-sightedness, okay, you don't have to wear spectacles so soon. It also reduces incidence of cataracts, and importantly, it can also improve vision clarity, contrast, and you won't find yourself having so much of a divided vision. Okay, Vision Essential can help that. So in summary, we have covered 3 main areas that is very prevalent across the lifespan. So one is calcium. Okay, we have to make sure that we eat enough. As we can learn just now, okay, repeatedly, if you are not eating 1,000 milligrams, it can cause your bones to be porous and make it very easy to fracture. And also it will affect many other organs in the body. Fruits and vegetables is also very important because this can prevent us from having severe disease, and falling sick, and intestinal health as well. Last but not least, with increased use of gadgets, we have to take extra precaution to the eye as it's a very vulnerable organ. So today we have covered the area of vitamin and minerals, okay, the most basic part. So next week, we will be focusing on this part, right? A bit of undernutrition, and we will also go into overnutrition as well. So protein plays a very important role in controlling all these things. So make sure you stay tuned, okay? Because next week is a continuation of this series. We'll be talking more in detail on protein through the ages. So thank you for your attention today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have learned a thing or two from today's talk. So if you have any questions about calcium, okay, about fruit intakes or ice, okay, please feel free to drop a question. So now we are having a Q&A session. Yeah, so please feel free to ask if you have any questions. Right? Okay, maybe this topic is not very popular. Could be. All right, we're not having any questions today. So, okay, great, thanks. Okay, Mr. Ong Guan Chiu, would 2 scoops of our CalMac daily be considered an overdose? No, it's not considered an overdose. All right, just to give you a bit of insight how we formulate our calcium magnesium. So it's been studied that for our body can only absorb 300 milligram max at one go. There's the maximum capacity that our body can absorb. So for our calcium magnesium, it is first of all powder form. So powder form is always better in terms of absorption, and 300 is the max we can go already. So that's why we formulated per scoop is 300, around 340 something, okay, per scoop. So for you to hit 1,000, and especially if you are at older age, is 1,003. So I think baseline everybody should be taking 2 scoops a day. So at least you drink a glass of milk in a day, or you eat tofu or something. Then in the morning you can have then after that you can have your calcium in the afternoon and one at night. Yeah. So it's not an overdose. In fact, for people who have fractures, okay, osteoporosis, they can even take up to 3 scoops a day if they're not meeting their calcium requirement. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. So does Vision Essential reduces the risk of long-sightedness? Yeah, it is. It does. Okay. Of course, it also depends on how early you have introduced this. But if you are, because vision impairment will shoot up, right, very quickly once you are 39 or 40. So of course, if you can eat the earlier, right, like 30 something better lah. But of course, if you eat, it's definitely better compared to you not eating it at all. Because it can, help to protect your eye from blue light and the kind of things. So it can reduce the risk of having long-sightedness. Okay, you will not have it so severely. Okay, some people have very severe long-sightedness. It can help to minimize that, and you may not get it so soon as well. Right? So Mr. Lai Yok Wah, okay, is Colorflex can replace CalMac? There are 2 different functions. Okay, CalMac is more for bone integrity, more for calcium, to make sure that your body don't leach out calcium from the bones. So Colorflex is more for a joint. Okay, it has cartilage, yes, okay, and it has curcumin as well. So all these are more for the joints, okay, more for anti-inflammatory, because our joints, have a lot of friction all the time. So it's more towards lubricating the joint and strengthening the joint. So best is to take 2 together, because we need both, right, to have good mobility. So I encourage you to take both. That's the best. Okay, any risk of calcification in taking calcium supplement in excess? So this is a very good question. Okay, it really depends on how the person eat in diet in general, right? If the person always take a lot of meat, okay, takes too much of meat, and overdose in terms of meat, okay, and if the person have things like uric acid, okay, because all this kind of build up uric acid. So it so happened at that point of time, the person have I think for Malaysia, you don't really, it's not very common to have overdose in calcium, unless the person drinks a lot of milk and things like that. Then possibly there may be a form of calcification that can happen. But usually it's not because of calcium overdose. The person may have this problem when he has a pre-existing condition. For example, things like high uric acid, okay, or things like the person pre-existing already have a very high condition of acid in the body, okay, and all these things, once you put in calcium, it may cause some calcification. So it's not due to whether the person, whether calcium supplement will cause an excess or not. It's depending on this person. Does he have any pre-existing condition? And if taking calcium will aggravate it. So this is for people who already have conditions and they have to see a doctor. But for normal people, okay, if you take two servings a day, and even with milk, it's fine. Okay, 1,000 milligrams is okay. Could you provide a guide on how we can integrate the calcium supplement and daily produce 24 in our daily routine? Okay, do we take it at the same time or at different timing? Okay, actually you can take it at the same time. It's not a problem. All right. You can take together. There's no interaction. So for your own convenience, depending on which time of the day you usually have your supplements. So if afternoon you take, then yeah, it's no problem. If afternoon, night, it's not a problem. So, but of course, if you want to sleep better, then you can take calcium at night. Right? It's really up to you. If calcium magnesium turn color due to oxidation kept over time, is it still as effective? Well, if it turns if it turns oxidation, then I don't think it's a good idea to take, okay? Because oxidation, once there's oxygen, all right, there will be vitamin and mineral that will leach out, okay, as well. So usually if you eat within 1 month, it won't oxidize, okay, unless the person you put for very long. So that's not recommended, all right? The certain university products contains caffeine. Are they will decrease the percent of calcium? Okay, so the caffeine in coffee and caffeine in our green tea is very different. Okay, the type of caffeine that's in the coffee, right, especially in coffee, will actually lead to increased leach calcium from the bones. But for green tea, okay, the type of caffeine is very different. Okay, there's slight difference in terms of the structure, and of course, it does not depend on the caffeine so much to give the energy levels. You have other things, okay, like matcha. There's other active ingredients like catechin, right, that really helps to stimulate our metabolism. So the way it works and the way it stimulates energy goes with a very different mechanism with coffee. Coffee is just purely caffeine, and the caffeine is usually more in coffee. So our caffeine is not very high, okay, generally 90 to 120 depends on which one you're taking. So if you're taking this caffeine, all right, if you're taking this all right, it's no problem. Okay, you can take it, but of course, best if you can calcium you can take at night, okay, for you to sleep better. Then morning you take the Bioslife E. Calcification is not from use of calcium supplements. It is from calcium that's not so bioavailable and not so well absorbed. Depends on what you mean by calcification. Okay, what I mean calcification is excess calcium buildup in the bones. Okay, and this really happens especially with people who have a pre-existing condition. So that is a very different ballgame altogether. Okay, it's not related to a healthy person. So let me read your question again. Calcification is not from the use of calcium supplement. Is it from calcium that's not so bioavailable and not so well absorbed? Well, if a calcium supplement is not effective, first of all, it will be leached out. Okay, calcification occurs usually when the calcium deposits, okay, in the bones. So I'm not very sure what does your calcification, what is the context, it means. Maybe, it calcifies and it just leach out. So medically, it's usually when it's deposited in the bone or other part of the body. But if a person eats one that's not bioavailable, usually it will just leach out and it will not have any effect at all in the body. Yeah, if it's the not so good quality one. Okay, the caffeine in Unimate is minimal, so don't worry about it. It's just 90 milligrams, so it's low. So yeah, it's the same. Okay, it does not work the same as coffee. Okay, I keep my open CalMag in the fridge. Thus, it helps to prevent oxidation and change of color. Later sharing. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ong Guan Chu, for your tips. Okay, thanks for sharing with us your tips. Of course, we encourage you to consume it within 1 month. Okay, that's the best period for supplements. Okay, so thank you everybody for your questions. All right, I enjoy answering, okay, and the engagement. So if I don't manage to answer your question today or you're not satisfied, okay, please, you can always feel free to send me an email and I'll be more than happy to answer. Okay, so thank you everybody for your time today, and I hope you have learned a thing or two. So please stay tuned to our next sharing. Okay, we'll be talking about protein and a very different aspect of protein. Yeah, so I hope that you will join us. Thank you very much and have a great evening. See you. Bye.